If you're an entrepreneur and your team is not currently performing at the level that you want, whether it's simply their work ethic or their drive, or maybe it's their skill set, or the results that they're producing are a little bit less than ideal, there's a good chance, believe it or not, it's not their fault, okay? Sometimes the problem is not always what we think it is. See, whether we realize it or not, our team models us as leaders. See, this can actually be supported in scripture. I was reading earlier today in Matthew chapter 10, specifically it's verse 25. It says, "It is enough for students to be like their teachers and servants like their masters." I want to highlight real quick. It says, it is enough for students to be like their teachers. It's enough for the students to grow beyond their teachers. It's not for them to go above and beyond. It's not for them to surpass their teachers. It's for them to be like their teachers. Same thing with, obviously it goes on to say, servants like their masters. See, we as leaders cannot expect our employees or our team members to grow beyond where we are. They are looking at us to set the standards, and we have to be really honest and reflect on the types of standards that we're actually creating for their organization. See, your team does not just do what you tell them to do. Oftentimes, they will do as you do. See, they're not just going to pay attention to your words. They pay attention to your actions and how you show up. And so when we want to better our team's performance, I think we as leaders need to oftentimes audit 3 core categories of which we are setting standards for our team. The first category is our character. When we talk about character can oftentimes be a bit of a broader word. And so if we want to have a deeper look into character, I would encourage you to look at where are your values and what are your beliefs? For example, if you are the type of person that you always want to do what is right, even if doing what is right may temporarily hurt someone's feelings, or even if it may mean having a really tough conversation. Even if doing what is right ends up being unprofitable for the short term. Okay, doing what is right may be something that you value greatly. And you can't just tell an employee or a team member that they always need to do what is right. You have to show them, based on your actions and the way you are making decisions, what doing right actually means. They will model those sorts of behaviors. They will start to adapt your certain beliefs. For example, I have a mentor of mine who has always told me the phrase, "I don't care to be right, I just want to make money and get results." And I have fully adapted that exact belief as my own now. I operate with that exact belief now. And I didn't come up with that belief on my own. I got that from a mentor of mine. Shout out to Jeremy Hates. But the same thing is true for your team. They may not have certain beliefs already that you do, but the more you repeat them and not just say them, but show through your actions that you are operating under this certain character or set of beliefs or certain principles, they will start to do the same because they want to look up to you. They want to model after your behavior. The second category you might want to take a deeper look into is the skill set category. See, skill sets are probably broken down into 2 different types of skill sets. There's hard skills. These are going to be like marketing skills, advertising skills, sales skills, skills at looking at spreadsheets or creating spreadsheets, skills at using certain, AI platforms, right? The other type of skill sets are going to be your interpersonal skill sets or your soft skills. Okay, so these are going to be maybe how you're thinking and making decisions, or like critical thinking skills, right? There's also going to be skills, for example, how you are leading, like leadership skills, or how you're communicating with others, communication skills, things like that are also things that your team will look up to you to see the standards that you're setting. And the third category I would encourage you to look at for standards that you're setting are going to be in work ethic, okay, and your drive. So you can't necessarily make someone have a higher drive just because you have a higher drive. However, the right people are attracted to high-driven individuals. If you are a very, very, very driven person, someone that is naturally lazy will not want to work with you, okay? You'll actually repel them. And the people that are like A+ hard workers, they see that and they're like, yeah, this person's like me, or I want to be the same way. Yeah, let's do it. Also, for what it's worth, the harder you work, you're actually setting a standard for, some people that may bias towards a little bit, just kind of being at rest. You're showing them, like, this is what I expect, and I would never make you work harder than me. And so, like, you're just showing them in general what you expect and what you define hard work to be. and that you would never expect them to do something that you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. Also, when you're thinking about, this area of work ethic, you could look at like how consistent are you? If you're working super, super hard on Monday, Tuesday, but then you take all day Wednesday off and you're scrolling on Instagram all day long, but then, Thursday, Friday, you're kind of like, having a couple meetings and then you're kind of in and out of office. You're not really doing a whole lot. They're seeing that even though you may work really, really hard on Monday, Tuesday, you're not necessarily working super hard and being super consistent on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in which case you're setting a standard that inconsistent work ethic is okay. That's something that you tolerate. That's something that you're willing to do for yourself. So therefore, you must tolerate that within them as well. So anyway, how consistent you are with your work ethic is going to be an area that they would probably look up to and probably model. Also, when you look at work ethic, you can look at like how focused you are. Are you the type of person that, hey, you block out all distractions? You tell your team, hey, I'm going on do not disturb. I got to go, I got to go do 2 hours of deep work. Don't reach out to me because during those 2 hours, I'm going to have this, this, and this, and this done. And then, right afterwards, you check in with them like, hey, got all of this stuff done. What do you need from me? Like if they can see that you're the type of person that you treat work seriously. And when you get into work, you are super, super focused. You're not distracted all the time. You're not, once again, kind of paying attention to your phone too much. It's like, no, they can see whether you're in an in-office environment. Obviously, that one's really, really easy. But then even in the virtual work culture, if you're, dealing with people on Slack, for example, or Microsoft Teams, or wherever you guys communicate, they're still going to be able to get a sense for how focused you are versus how distracted you are. Or even when you're, maybe leading a team meeting, if you're on Monday saying, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this week. And then all of a sudden next Monday's meeting, you're like, oh, you know what? Those things didn't matter. We're actually going to do this thing. And if you're scatterbrained, they're going to see that a lot of the things that you say are important are not actually that important because they will start to see a rhythm that you're changing your mind all the time. And so therefore, that means that they're okay with maybe not doing all the things that you tell them to do because you're changing your mind. So they don't know what's actually that important. So they will look at your focus and how focused you are and your once again, your work ethic, and they will start to model similar behavior. So I would encourage you, have yourself an honest audit, an honest conversation with yourself. Go do some thinking time, write those 3 categories on a sheet of paper, and actually ask yourself, like, what sort of standards are you truly setting for your organization or for your team? I'll say for myself, I recently did this in one core area, which was skill set. See, I wanted my team to be really skilled with AI. I wanted my team to be able to go out and build AI agents. I wanted them to be using AI agents. I want to make our team more efficient, and not just even be more efficient, but even be more effective, right? Get better results and even less time. But if I'm really, really honest with myself, I didn't know all that much about AI. I was using it for prompting, right? I was using ChatGPT all the time, but I wasn't really building agents. And I'm quite honest, I didn't really know how to build agents. I didn't know how to go, build this agent and then another agent and then have them talk to each other. Like, I'm not some sort of AI architect. That's just not me. But if I'm really honest with myself, how can I expect my team to go out and learn those things and rise up to the type of, I'd say, AI skills that I want them to have if I'm not willing to do that as well? And sure, technically, you could say that's not my job. Technically, you could say, no, like just go hire an AI architect within the business and they'll be able to do it for you. That's fine. But how can I, as a leader, hold them accountable to doing what needs to be done or helping them troubleshoot something or fix something if they're caught up on a roadblock or if they're not getting a certain result, or maybe, hey, I have to let them go and then I have to take on over the system temporarily, or I have to have someone else on the team take it over temporarily. Like, I need to understand and have a really high level of understanding around this subject before I can actually start hiring other people and expecting them to have the same level of understanding or even higher. Okay. So for myself, I learned this recently, and like I realized this recently. I'm like, dang, I think I'm going to have to actually just swallow the pill and start studying this on a regular basis. So I went ahead and invested into a program that will be teaching me how to become an AI architect. Not because I personally want to be spending all day long building out agents. That's not a long-term goal. However, I do want to have the skill set so that if my team needs help building an agent, hey, I know how to go on in and get in the weeds, get my hands dirty and actually help them out. Also, I want them to see that this is something that's not just important for like them personally to learn. I want them to see like, no, this is a standard that Zach is setting for the organization, that, hey, he wants us to all have this level of acumen. And he also has that level of acumen. And so like he's learning this with us. And so like we're actually all as a team going through this together. We're all getting, I don't know if you want to call it certified in like AI architecture, but we're all going through a certification program essentially to learn how to build agents together. And we're all actually having conversations on on like a regular weekly basis on, hey, like I'm building this, you're going to build this. Hey, here's how these are going to be able to work together. And we're all collaborating now. I'm in the weeds with them. And, that might change long term. Maybe they're more in the weeds and I'm a little bit higher level. But it's important for me, for my team to see that this is something that I'm not just expecting them to learn. I also am willing to get in the weeds and learn this with you. This has also happened in a totally different other area of my business, which was sales. I've gone through multiple different salespeople over the years, and I used to make some not so great sales hires. And yeah, sure, you could say it's because that was my first couple times hiring salespeople. Sure, that's fair. However, even if I hired a great salesperson, if I don't know sales at a really high level myself, how can I train that salesperson properly? How can I get them acquainted to our organization, our processes, our beliefs, all of that stuff? Even our tech systems, right? Like, sending contracts and collecting payment. Like if I don't know that stuff like the back of my hand, how can I support that sales pro? I'm not going to be able to. Or even if they're having a specific objection they keep getting caught up on every week on calls, if I have a one-on-one call with my sales pro and they are struggling with this particular objection, I need to be a master at sales in order to be able to help them get past that objection. I can't just say, well, figure it out. Okay, that's not going to be a very empowering way of leading them. I would say, well, hey, I would personally handle this way, and here's exactly how I'd kind of work through this conversation. Hey, let's role play it out real quick. I'll let you give me the objection, and I'll show you exactly how I handle it. Okay, cool. Now let's flip the script. Now I want you to copy after as I just did, or replicate what I just did to you. And so being able to be in the weeds with your team, especially as a small business owner, will be extremely helpful in training them to hit the certain standards that you want them to hit and need them to hit, quite honestly. Now, obviously, you don't want to be in the weeds long term with every single area of your business. But once again, for me, this was something that was important for me, is that I can't expect a sales pro to come on in and close deals at a higher rate than I can. I can't expect someone to go build out AI agents when I know personally nothing about them myself, and I know nothing about how to correct them or fix them or make them better or whatever, optimize them or refine them if they're not working to the level of excellence that we want them to. So that was two different examples for me that I personally had to go through recently, was like actually investing and learning these things with my team, going through sales training programs with my team alongside them. And we could actually collaborate what we're learning, and we could talk about how this actually applies to our organization. When someone sees that you as the leader are willing to do that, it's not about them being your employee. They actually see not to be meta here, like they actually see like you are on the same team as them. You are on their side and you are helping them win. You're not just saying, hey, go win, and you're not helping them. Like you're actually teammates when you're doing that. I think the point here that we can just kind of encapsulate all of that with is that you cannot demand a standard that you don't demonstrate yourself. However, the inverse is also true, which is that the moment that you start to raise your standards, everything downstream also begins to rise. It's kind of like the, rising tides rises all ships. So obviously there are a lot of practical benefits that will come from really analyzing this and actually kind of raising your standards personally that you're setting for the team. However, there's also a spiritual benefit as well. So if you're a person of faith and you're looking at this and you see that for example, the verse in Matthew that I read earlier, which is that it is enough for students to be like their teachers. You have to be reminded, you are the teacher in this case. See, God has given you students. God has given you people to steward. And you are setting a standard for them to shape them to be the type of person that God wants them to be. He's entrusted within you, whether you got, a virtual assistant, maybe it's 2 people, maybe it's 200 people. If he's entrusted with you people, he's also entrusted that you are going to set the standard to help shape them and mold them to become the person they are meant to be as well. And they will be shaped and molded based on how you show up every single day. Now, I've got one big action item I'd highly encourage you go do. that should really lead to some real breakthrough for you and your team this week. Now, before I get into that, I want to say, if you are new to this channel, my name is Zach Hesterberg, and I would highly encourage and invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you're getting any value out of this, you're going to love all of the other videos on this channel. Every Tuesday, we have Tactical Tuesdays. These are going to be videos that are focused on revenue-driven activities that should allow you to grow your business in a way that is scalable and exponential in nature. And every Friday, we have more faith-forward Fridays or faith-driven Fridays. That's what this video is, where, hey, there's still plenty of tactical elements that you could get out of this that will actually help you out in business as an entrepreneur, but they're all rooted directly from Scripture. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, highly encourage you, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications if you're feeling it as well. Cannot wait to see you in the next video. Now, for your final action item here that I want you to go put into place, I want you to think of one person on your team. I don't care if you have a team of one. I don't care if you have a team of 100. I want you to think of just one person on your team that's not currently showing up in the way that you want them to show up. Maybe this is their character. Maybe this is their skill set, or maybe it's their work ethic. And before you go have that tough conversation with them, before you go try to get them more training or go help them with whatever it is that they seem to be frustrated by or struggling with, I want you to ask yourself, are you showing up in the way that they can model and actually get the right result? For example, if they are maybe running your ads for you and you know nothing about ads, or you don't know a fraction of advertising skills that they should, and you're wanting them to get you a better result with ads and they're struggling, but you don't personally know how to solve the problem, I'd ask yourself, what would it look like for you to go fix this yourself? And it's not fixing it yourself. It's showing them that you're willing to get in the weeds and fix it with them. Maybe you guys need to go invest into an ads program or an ads training program. Maybe you need to hire a consultant to come on in and show both of you how to fix this problem. What would it look like for you to personally get involved in setting the standard and showing them that you are on their team and you're happy to help them figure this out with them? Obviously, that's easy with the skill set. If it's the character or the work ethic, I want you to ask yourself simply and just plainly and be really, really honest with yourself, are you exemplifying the character and the work ethic that you personally would want out of them? Or are they actually emulating the exact character and work ethic that you and everyone else on your team has? So that's what I'd ask yourself. And when you simply ask yourself that with one specific person in your team on mind or in mind, I think you'll probably find one or two core things that you could go do today or this week that should lift up the standards of the organization. So go do that and go reap the benefits, go reap the fruit, and go mold people, go shape people, and go build people on your team. That's about all we have for today. Cannot wait to see you in the next video. Peace.